Hello. Hi friends. This is an interview preparation session. So if you have any doubts, please let me know, friends. I think no one have any questions. So let's see about the interview preparation session based on AI part. When it comes to AI, we should know about something when interviews are going on with AI roles or DS roles, anything. So we'll see somewhat related to AI. Okay, let's talk about chatbot. So chatbot is a kind of AI-based application where where the client want chatbot to be on his mobile application or website or any social media platform or whatever. So basically, when you're preparing for any kind of interviews and all related to these kind of roles like AI roles and all, they'll concentrate somewhat on NLP, advanced NLP, even chatbots as well. There are many companies right now who are asking completely on chatbots. Okay. So when it comes to a chatbot, we should know all the topics of NLP like tokenization, named entity recognition, and all other concepts whatever we have under NLP. So that is very important. Like for any kind of chatbot, if you know NLP and advanced NLP, that would be like pretty fun. They'll ask questions based on how the chatbot is built, what is the backend we are using for chatbot. So these all questions will be raised, like what is the kind of backend NLP library you are using. For example, we'll be having Spacey and NLTK. So Spacey is a backend NLP library for a particular chatbot. In the same way, we'll be having NLTK. NLTK library is also a kind of similar work will be done by using NLTK library as well. So concentrate on these topics. These topics are very important when it comes to an AI based role. Okay. So in an AI based role, like they'll ask questions on this basically. Uh, Advanced NLP is somewhat related to BERT and all other models which are under advanced NLP, especially BERT. When it comes to BERT, they'll ask how can you extract entities from a given input of the user. So I'll give some kind of terms which are important when it is related to chatbot interview. One is intent. Intent is a kind of input from the user, input from the user to the chatbot. In the same way, they'll ask what is entity. Entity is a keyword. It is a keyword. Is a keyword from the user input itself. So basically, I'll explain about this entity part, what happens in the backend of the chatbot. So for example, chatbot asks your name. What is your name? You'll give a response in my name is Sam. So in this we have Sam, right? This Sam is a kind of name. So this is a keyword for name. So this will be treated as an entity. Okay. This is an entity. In the same way, we'll be having places, names, whatever kind of input which you are expecting from the user. So these all will be treated as an entity. Okay, these two are the major terms which they'll ask in any interview which is related to kind of AI based roles or DS roles, whatever. So these are kind of questions. This is very important. Intent is very important. Entity is very important. And let's see a kind of framework which is being used for chatbot, for making the chatbot. I'll explain like how the frameworks are being used in making the chatbot. We'll be having open source frameworks as well as the paid service frameworks. Paid service frameworks are like paid services for making the chatbot, not for making it, for building the chatbot. Okay. Chatbot is Google Dialogflow we have, Amazon Lex, IBM Watson, and Azure Lois. These are some of the other paid services with which we can make chatbot. Okay. So in the same way, we have free source framework, which is very popular, so-called Rasa. So we have Rasa. Rasa is an open source AI conversational chatbot framework with which we can make a chatbot. Like basically, Rasa will have a kind of files, inbuilt files when you install Rasa in your local system. So after installing it, we'll be like we can use our knowledge in of coding in making the chatbot. Okay. In making the chatbot, these are very important. One is entity and other one is intent. You have to define what are intents, what are entities in any kind of chatbot you are making. This is very important. In the same way, for making the chatbot, backend service for chatbot, Rasa chatbot. So Rasa chatbot is Spacey. Okay. We have an NLTK, sorry, not an NLP library, so-called Spacey. So this is the backend of Rasa with which it could able to extract entities, it could able to define intents, means intents it will self-classify. So these all things we have inbuilt with Rasa. When you install Rasa, you have to install Spacey library for sure, so that it will extract these names and all, whatever you wanted to do with the Spacey library, like NLP, you wanted to do if you wanted to do some manipulation kind of things for a given input by the user. So this library is used in the backend. So you'll be using Rasa for it. So basically Rasa will use Spacey in the backend. So this is the major things, like they'll ask what is the backend service for any kind of chatbot. Basically you'll be having Spacey or NLTK. Google Dialogflow is using NLTK in the backend. I means like we can do some research part on this, like how these bots are working, with how the backend services are working. These all things we can do some research and we can get to know about it. So these are the major questions like which are related to chatbot. In the same way, we'll have so basically when it comes to chatbot, they'll ask you what kind of chatbot you need, like what are the different kinds of chatbots we have. So we'll be having rule-based chatbot as well as generative-based chatbot. One is rule-based chatbot and generative-based chatbot. Basically, in market, in industrial level, they'll call generative-based chatbot or rule-based chatbot. So rule-based chatbot is specifically for all the it is specified by it will be specified by the domain. Like for example, if we have a particular domain like related to farmer sector, related to any kind of sector, we can define that chatbot as a rule based chatbot because they need the chatbot to be worked only in a specified way. It is a domain specific bot. So generative bot is like basically it has to automate. It has to take the user input and it has to generate the answer automatically by using some kind of NLP services in the backend. Okay, so it's not a domain specific bot. It has to generate. It will be a. It has to generate the answers as per the user questions. Okay, so this is how the things will go in the chatbot. In the same way, they'll ask. This is the different. These we have different chatbots. Like there is one more thing. They'll give you a live case, live use case, and they'll ask you what kind of services you'll use, like what kind of entities you'll use in the backend to store the details of the user. Like they'll give a live use case. Like let's take this use case itself. So I have given my name as Sam, right? I have given this input from the user. So basically, they'll ask you a question like name is given by the bot. Name is given by the user to the bot. So there are few clients. There might be a few clients like they'll ask a developer or data scientist or any other the person who's making the chatbot to save these particular details in their databases. Okay, so in order to do that, we have to integrate our chatbot with with a database which can be like Postgres or MSSQL or MySQL or what MongoDB. These all database services we can use in order to save the details of the user through the chatbot. Whatever the details we are getting through the chatbot, we can save it in the databases. So these all questions also they'll ask how we'll save, what all services we wanted to use. So these questions will be raised by any like interviewer when it comes to AI based role or else ML based roles or DS roles. These all things they'll expect from us. Okay. Please let me know if any questions are there. Yes, friends, does anyone have any question? I hope the concepts are clear regarding the sentient entity and types of chatbot and all. Yes, friends, no one have any question? You can raise in the chat window in YouTube Live. So we have a question from Anusha. Can we create chatbot using transformers and bot models? Yeah, that is for sure because I told you about RASA framework, right? In RASA framework, we can use TensorFlow models used in RASA. So we have predefined TensorFlow. Rasa had its own models. Like if you create a basic chatbot with Rasa, they will give you a model file which cannot be opened. Like they'll not open it to all the user because the model thinks whatever they are generating, it is completely and secret from Rasa, even though it's an open source. They'll use TensorFlow in the backend for generating the model file. Even we can create a BERT model using Rasa. There will be a file so-called config.yml. Rasa will generate all YML files whenever you install Rasa in your local machine. So there will be a file so-called config.yml in the files whatever Rasa is generating. In this file, we have to mention the model name what we are using. Like if you are using transformers, you can mention transformers there. If you're using BERT model, you can mention the BERT model over there. Any questions, friends? Any more questions? Yeah, if other than chatbot topic, you can ask, you can raise now. So the backend services for the generative-based chatbots would be like BERT only, because BERT have an advantage like BERT model is being trained by English dictionary. So generative-based chatbots, we cannot define user can give this question or user can give this question. So we cannot define the chatbot like you'll get only these kind of questions from the user so that you give this answer through the chatbot. So basically, in generative-based chatbot, BERT model is sure required. So whenever a BERT model is given to the chatbot, it will understand whatever the user has given. For example, I have created a chatbot to take the feelings of the user and then to suggest something to the user. So user might give, crap, I'm crap. Crap is a kind of sad feeling, but I haven't trained the chatbot with the word crap. So whenever I use BERT model in the backend, so BERT model will understand that word is a sad word as it is being trained by the complete English dictionary. So based on that input from the user, it will generate the answer automatically. We have to mention the BERT model in the backend so that it will generate the answer respectively. We cannot use Rasa for generating the BERT models. We have separate frameworks which will be like simple transformers or BERT transformers. Also, we have simple transformers is one of the best examples in order to create a generative chatbot. Yeah, I hope this question is clear. Like Anusha raised a question: what is the backend for generative based chatbot? So the for generative based chatbot, 100% for sure we have to use BERT model only. There is no other go. Transformers are being used like simple transformers. Simple transformers is a kind of framework, free source framework up to some level. If you go simple transformers, you need GPU in your local machine, or until and unless you have GPU in your local machine, simple transformers will not be installed. GPU in the sense, I hope people knows about GPU. Like you should have a graphic processing unit in your local machine, which will be of NVIDIA itself. If you have NVIDIA, you have to install CUDA in your system. Then only this transformers, simple transformers library will be installed in your local. Yes, I hope it's clear. Like these are the major questions which are related to chatbot, AI-based chatbot they'll ask. And now let's see about some kind of deployments like chatbot deployments. So whenever you go for an interview, like they'll ask a question, how you deployed, how you deployed your machine learning model. So they'll say like we have to answer in such a way like we have created an API service. API service in the sense application program interface. For example, we have a chatbot in our local machine. We have to create an API for the chatbot. That API has to be given to the client to connect in the website. Okay. Basically, HTML code will have HTML under HTML code. We'll be giving this link, URL link of the chatbot so that look and good all things HTML code, HTML people, HTML team will look into that. So at least we have to know the basic HTML in order to give our link so that they'll place over the whole HTML code of any website. For example, I'll give a random explanation on how HTML will work and all. Let's see Google only. So let's just go into inspect. So if I click on anything, uh, so this like the above line is there, right? If I click on this line, that line has been designed. The backend HTML code is this. Okay, for Google picture, this is the backend HTML code. So if I go on this, we can see an image URL and all will be mentioned in this section. So this is the backend HTML code people will design. Here, for example, here we need a chatbot. Okay, in this web page itself, we need a chatbot. Okay, just go to any Google page and right click on it. Just go on inspect. You'll get to know like and inspect window will open. There we can see if you select on any line, a particular picture, anything will be selected on the web page. So in the same way, if we wanted to integrate a chatbot, we need an HTML code, the basic HTML code to integrate it with. So deployment we can use Flask, we have Flask library, we have Streamlit. So basically you are creating an API service by using these libraries. Okay. We'll be using Flask, we'll be using Streamlit. By using this two, we can create an API. Okay. I hope deployment is also clear for all. So deployment is the last part when you build a new chatbot or anything. So we'll have very less questions on deployment part. I hope all the things are clear till now. If you have any question, yeah, please raise hands. If we do not have any question, we can wind up for today, friends. Hello. Yeah, we can close the live now, as we do not have any questions. Hello.